Okay, so I just finished making the 53-minute video, like a class, like a TEDx talk about the dimensions of existence, my version of that, which is such an interesting video. So I just finished doing that. And now I'm thinking about doing the second video right away. I don't think I have time to do the third one. I will do it another day next week. So this one is gonna be what gives the greatest possible, I'm reading from here, from my little notebook. So what gives the greatest possible happiness to an intelligent living being? With a reference to Elon Musk. I don't know if Elon Musk is ever going to watch this video, but if he watches it, oh boy, this is gonna be good. Here's the thing, and I'm not gonna mention what the reference is until I get to it, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go really fast in this video, much faster than the other one, because I really don't have a lot to talk about this, but it is a very interesting topic. So, when we think about what gives the greatest possible happiness to an intelligent living being. So we're not talking here about bacteria or dogs and cats. And dogs and cats do have intelligence, but I'm thinking about, I'm really thinking about what gives the most happiness to a being that is at least as intelligent as us. So I'm thinking about us and above that. If you want to see me talking about that, watch the other video on the dimensions of existence, which is the one that's going into that. So basically, let's first mention, because there are many things that give us happiness. There are many things that they do give us happiness, but they are not the key to get the highest amount, the maximum amount of happiness possible that an intelligent living being like us or above our level can possibly get or have or experience or obtain. So before I go into what my answer for that is, let's just mention a couple of ones that are not the answer, but that they do give happiness. The number one, and this is really, let me get that chair. This is really, so I don't have to be holding the notebook constantly. This is really not something to be surprised about. Number one thing that gives us happiness, but that is not the key or is not the way to obtain the maximum amount of happiness that we can get, is pleasure. No one should be surprised, but I'm still going to tell you why I think that is. The thing with pleasure is that when we are experiencing a lot of pleasure, I think it's pretty obvious that we're happy. That's not a secret. When you're in the middle of a moment with a lot of pleasure, you're pretty happy during that moment. So let's, not pretend like that is not the case. But the problem with the kind of happiness that comes from pleasure is that it is only during that moment. And if you want to maximize happiness, you need something that doesn't just maximize it during a specific amount of time, or during that hour I was very, very happy, but that hour was last year and I don't have that stuff from that hour anymore, so I'm not happy anymore. Obviously that's not the key to the maximum happiness possible for us. So it is something that makes us very happy. By the way, I'm not just thinking about stuff like sex, I'm also thinking about anything that gives you pleasure. Hobbies. Why do you think that people get addicted to fun hobbies? Like, I hope I don't get addicted to the stocks or to the stories. Though it would be a good idea actually, because it's so much work and so much time. You have to be addicted to it to stick to it through with like 5 books. You have to love it for real, otherwise there's no way. But yeah, what makes people get addicted to their hobbies? Actually, you know what? There are people that get addicted to other people. It's like their hobby is that other person that they like a tune. They like that person very much. it's, happiness. They feel happy with that person, they feel happy with that hobby, they're getting joy from that hobby. But this happiness that they are getting from that person and from that hobby is very likely, not in every case, but in many cases, coming from the pleasure that you get when you're with doing that hobby, or being with that person. And it's not that it's not happiness because it's pleasurable. It's actually a happy moment and a happy time. But it's just, there's a humongous problem with that. It's only that moment, it's only that time. What happens if you don't have that person anymore? What happens if you cannot do that hobby anymore? So everything crumbles then. Your happiness is, you don't have that happiness anymore then. It's such a problematic way of looking at solving the happiness problem, and of seeing how you can maximize happiness. That it's pretty obvious that the way to maximize happiness, or to keep your happiness high at all times, is not pleasure. Because even if you will always have this hobby and you will always have time to do that hobby, which is very unlikely, if you're in a standard case, like me, like most people, you probably have any time to do the hobby that you like. But it's, let's pretend that you have all the time in the world to do that hobby that you love and that gives you happiness, that gives you pleasure and all that. Let's pretend that you have the love of your life, this person that you love, always there with you. You still need to keep having them there. It's very dependent on. It's like the only way to keep that happiness maximized is to repeat the hobby every day, or to repeat, spending time with that person that you love very much, and that gives you a lot of everything every single day, and then you need to keep coming back to it. To keep the happiness high, and to maximize it, you cannot maximize it. It's constantly going up and down, up and down, and up. And to get it up again, you have to go and do the hobby again. You have to go be with that person again. It's obviously not the way to maximize happiness, even if it does give us happiness. Because saying that it doesn't give you happiness it's just a lie. But the way in which pleasure gives us happiness, it just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it to maximize it. So the answer to the greatest possible amount of happiness that an intelligent living being can get or experience is not pleasure. The number two, which obviously I think this one is a lot more powerful than pleasure, because you can see right away that it is not something that goes away very quickly, and to bring it back at its full strength, you need to do the hobby again, or you need to be with that person again. With pleasure, you have to be all day, every day, forever on top of it, like with a hammer. More pleasure. With a hammer, you have to be on top of it. It's just impossible to maximize pleasure, to maximize happiness through pleasure, because you have to be going after it or chasing it always. Not that I don't, it's not saying that I don't like pleasure. Everyone likes pleasure. I like it too, but it's obviously not the answer. It's not the answer to the greatest happiness, or even the best happiness. We're gonna go up in quality as we go there. But number two, which is still not the answer, but it's a lot more powerful than pleasure because it lasts a lot longer with you in your mind, is accomplishments. When you accomplish something great, it doesn't go away in one day. It doesn't depend on another person. It might be dependent, or it could depend on another person, like it's something really great, like if you save many people's lives, something like that. Obviously, it's dependent on the other people. But you see where I'm going. You see, it's not as hammer-like. You have to be on top of it every day. You cannot let it go. And if you let it go, then the happiness from it goes down at a faster pace than other forms of happiness. When you have an accomplishment, it can last you a very long time, even years. um, for example, let's give this as an example because it's something that will work for this. Like let's pretend that I already finished writing like my first series, which is like 2 or 3 books, the real reality series. I already did it. I already wrote it. I already finished it. Let's say that it becomes extremely famous in science fiction, and one of the books in the series is like a bestseller. Obviously, that will make me very happy, and it is a kind of happiness that was gonna stay with me for a long time. But after you get one bestseller, one great book, which it will always give you some happiness because there will always be people that will read it, even 10 years later and 20 years later, and it will always be, a great difference, a positive difference. The maximum happiness that you got, like in that first year, second years, if you really love all that, like I do, because I do like it, perhaps even as long as 5 years, it could keep you in a state of full happiness. I love it. I'm so, so proud. So so glad that I did this. So happy. And it's not the happiness that someone can take away from you. In the spite of that, it's going to go down. It's going to go down because it's not at the maximum level. So what is at the maximum level? I'm getting closer to the Elon Musk reference now. In case anyone is watching the video just to see where I'm gonna put the Elon Musk reference. I know that there are people that are gonna watch it just for that. How is this guy gonna put Elon Musk in his video? You're gonna see it's a really, really good allegory. It fits. I'm sorry to tell you this because you're watching this video thinking that everyone can achieve this maximum level of happiness, but I'm not here to give you like a magic pill, like in the Matrix, magic pills. I'm here to tell you what I perceive as the answer, even if it is not the super happy and wonderful answer for everyone. I think that to achieve this maximum level of happiness, it cannot be achieved by everyone. Theoretically, anyone could end up in that position that can achieve that. So, I'm coming from the point of view of an author, of a storyteller, and in your story, in your imagination, you can put anyone in that position and anyone can achieve it. In reality, in real life, not everyone is in a position of great power at a global level or even at a galactic level, who knows. But when someone, so obviously, because not everyone has that kind of power, not everyone can do something that has a humongous impact on everyone. There's something that maximizes happiness for that person or for that intelligent living being that only the living beings that are at a level of power that is basically above almost everybody else and that can have an impact and an influence on everybody else, only those who are at that level can do something that maximizes happiness, like forever. This is a happiness that is not like pleasure where you have to be hammering every day because it goes away, or like accomplishments that, depending on how big the accomplishment is, it can last you months, it can last you years, but it's not gonna last a lifetime. Even if you're an Olympic athlete, your prime time is going to end and you will reach a time when you're not getting medals anymore and you cannot be the epic hero that won all the races and all that. So it's not gonna last. The award, the accomplishment lasts for your whole life, forever. But that maximum happiness, that state of flow, maybe, of max full happiness that you were at when you won that medal, and maybe the whole year after when everyone was praising what you did and all that, it just doesn't last forever. but it lasts, for accomplishments, it lasts a lot more than for pleasure. Okay, so let's just go straight to the point, because I like to go in circles a lot. You need to be in a position of great power. You need to be one of those few that really can impact everyone to experience this super happiness. That is, in my opinion, the highest one. Before I tell you what it is, and I tell you the Elon Musk reference, leaving the best for the end. I love leaving the best for the end. I do that in the stories too. I leave the best for the end. The whole thing is good, but in the end it's like, wow, this was magnificent. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't see that coming. Before I say that, I'm gonna say one thing that makes many people in the highest power happy. That is not the answer to the maximum happiness either. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. If you are like a like a worldwide dictator and you're watching me now, I'm gonna give you bad news. I'm gonna mess up your day right now. The maximum amount of happiness, that thing that truly maximizes happiness for an intelligent living being, doesn't just require being in a position of great power and doing the thing that I'm gonna tell you that you have to do, but it also requires that the living being is good. If you're, like a global dictator, that kind of thing, and you're happy because you feel that you're on top of everybody else, and you feel that you're better than everybody else, or that you're more powerful than everybody else, or that you're, really, like, let's say you're better at sports, and you have more money, and you have more, more pleasure, and more accomplishments, and more everything than everybody else, and you get to decide everybody else's lives, and it's like you're godly almost. You're getting your happiness there from the ego. You're getting your happiness there from thinking that you're superior or better than everybody else. You are not getting your happiness there from the right place to maximize it, so it cannot be maximized. Yes, you are, if you are this global dictator that has it all, and that is truly better than everybody else, and may even have everyone on his hand to do whatever this guy wants for him, it's impossible to maximize happiness from that perspective and that point of view, because that is the perspective or the point of view that is only maximizing happiness for yourself. And I'm not saying that you're not happy. I really can imagine one of these global dictators, like this guy, what is his name? The guy from North Korea. Imagine the guy from North Korea like at an international level. I'm not saying the guy is not gonna be happy. The guy's probably very happy if he's there, feeling like he's the super king of the world. Yes, he's happy. I'm not saying that he isn't. But we're talking here about the maximum amount of happiness that you can experience. It's not that. It's not accomplishment. It's not from pleasure. It's not from things. It is not, from having this specific partner. The most beautiful woman in the world, or the sexiest guy in the world that all the other women in the world want. I'm sorry, I'm giving you bad news if you have that already. It's not the way to maximize happiness. Actually, I'm gonna give you a reference in case someone wants like a scientific way to see this. The book The Selfish Gene by Richard, I forgot the name. Is it Dawkins? It's not Darwin. I know Darwin is the other guy. So it's Richard Dawkins, right? The book The Selfish Gene. The book The Selfish Gene basically tells you that our physical form, which is determined by our genes, is selfish, is egocentric, is led by the ego, and we want to make ourselves happy by making ourselves superior and better than everybody else. And It's a really good book. Some people might think it's negative, but it's actually thought-provoking. It's a good read. It's a good read, in fact. So what I realized from reading that is that, there are two forms of deriving happiness. If you're bad, if you're genuinely a bad person, someone who doesn't have a good heart, who doesn't give a crap about other people, you're going to derive your happiness from the selfish gene, from the physical, from pleasure, from accomplishment, from feeling that you're superior, stronger, more powerful, all that. You're not even going to think about the other phase or form of happiness from where we can derive happiness to, which is probably, let me think about how I say this, because I don't want people to think that I am very religious. I'm not really, like a religious guy. But it's true. The other form of happiness, which is the one that can lead to the maximum, is not based on the physical or on the egocentric view. Is based or on the genes, which always want to make you better and better and better. It's based on the part that could be described as the spiritual, the mental, if you were a religious person, you will say it is the part that is mixed to God. It is the part of us that is mixed to all those spiritual things that we have. That obviously there's some sort of thing or sense or something else that is in essence not physical but sort of like a spiritual, that kind of thing, which many people say that is what God is, as we perceive it, as we humans here on planet Earth perceive it. And maximizing happiness for that thing, which also manifests itself in you and me and everyone, is not through pleasure or through humongous accomplishments that are for you only, or through making yourself feel like better, more this, more that. It is through doing something that impacts that spiritual part or sphere or sense or thing for all the other living beings, not just you, but for all the others. So why does it take someone with global power to achieve this maximum happiness? Most people cannot do something that will impact the lives of everybody else in the whole world, because they are just not at that level. They cannot, they are not someone who has global power, so they cannot do it. I cannot do it. I can give a talk here, and if people who have power like Musk see it, they may be influenced by it, but I cannot do it myself. So I am not one of the people who is on that stage of achieving the maximum happiness. But if someone who is chooses to, instead of focus on the personal ego's pleasure and accomplishments and superiority and all that, chooses to use that power to do something that influences the happiness and the lives even, and the spiritual personas of all the other living beings in a positive manner. This is very important. Obviously, it is in a positive manner, because if you influence it in a negative manner, this is like good material for a villain. And my villains, they are a lot like this. If you influence it in a negative manner and you still feel like you're a badass because of it, because you're the boss, it doesn't maximize happiness for you. If it is a person that is not good, the essence of this person, the humanity, the heart, the mind, whatever you want to call it, is not good, they will still feel happy because of that. Make no mistake, there are people who are like that. There are intelligent living beings, maybe not just us, who are like that. and they do get happiness from that, but they are never going to achieve the maximum amount of happiness. This is completely clear to me based on all these stories that I imagine and all these superior and smarter beings that I imagine in these stories. It was completely clear that in these stories that I imagine, the only one that achieved the greatest happiness possible and the maximum, and that after doing that, it kept it there, was basically the one that made everybody else happy and saved everyone. It was the one that decided to use the great power for a good cause, but not just for the self or for your family or for your, the people around you, but for everyone. So who are the people on planet Earth that have the power to do this? We're getting into the Elon Musk reference now. That's why I don't know what's gonna happen. I think nobody really knows. We can guess. I can also guess and speculate. And with my imagination, I can speculate and guess a lot. But basically, who are the people right now in the world that will have the power to do something that will change things for the whole world and for everyone and bring a lot of happiness for everyone? There are not many people on that stage. That stage is pretty small, and there's only space for a few people there. So if you are one of those people, like someone like Elon Musk, for example, you're the richest guy in the world. Even if you're not the one giving orders, you're still the richest guy in the world. So you obviously are in a position of great power that can influence the whole human race on planet Earth. If someone in that position decides to not focus on the ego of, oh, I am the great king of the human race, and on pleasure and accomplishment, and chooses to do something that truthfully makes life, whole human race happier, and it is all because of that intelligent living being, because of that guy, because of that woman. If we're in my story, in my real reality series, there are also intelligent robots, so you can call it. So these robots, they are so hyper realistic that they do have a gender. They are he or she, they are not it. So basically, if you know you're the one who did this and brought happiness for everyone, and everyone is going to be eternally grateful to you because of that, this is a kind of happiness that never goes down. It's probably the true reason why the great heroes are great heroes and wanted or chose to be great heroes. It's something I really explain. The main hero in my real reality series in the story is so close to that. Is someone that is willing, when you are in that position of great power, to do the right thing, to do the thing that really makes things better and really brings happiness to everyone, to be the philosopher king of Aristotle, who is like a ruler, someone at that high level of power over the whole race, who then chooses to use that power not for self-gain, not for self-accomplishment, but to make sure that, okay, now we're gonna do what is necessary to make the whole human race happy. If someone does that, and in our case here, the Elon Musk reference on planet Earth, one of the guys who will be able to do that right now will be Elon Musk. By the way, that sounds a lot like a name for a character in a story to me, Mr. Elon Musk. That name sounds a lot like the name that I would use for a character in one of my stories. So I like that. Good thing. It sounds like a name of a character from a story. So basically, when someone in that position chooses to use that power to do the right thing and to bring happiness for everyone, and after that, that thing that this person does fixes things and gets everyone happier and everything running, what ends up happening is that this person gain a form of happiness that, in my opinion, is the maximum form of happiness. There's nothing that gives more happiness than that. You know, knowing that you're the one that made everyone happy and everyone is happy because of you. If it wasn't for you, everyone wouldn't be happy. It's just because you did it. So because of you, everyone is happy. There's just, I don't think there's any other form of happiness that is higher than that. It doesn't go down. Day in, day out. If you know you're the one who did something that big for your planet, for your race, for everyone, it's so powerful. It's like Jesus Christ, basically. It's that kind of level. I think in my real reality series, it goes even beyond that with one of the characters. It goes even beyond that. But you're gonna have to read my series to know about that, to know what I'm gonna do there. So, and this is just an example. I think that right now the person that pops out, maybe there are other people, but we just don't know them. But the person that pops out with global power, who will be able to do something that will bring a lot of happiness to literally everyone on the planet, or almost everyone, will be someone like Musk, essentially. So obviously you have to be at that level first. If you're not at that level, I am not at that level. I can give the talk here, but I am not at that level. You know? If you're at that level and you choose to do the right thing, and you choose to do the thing that maximizes happiness for the people on the planet, you're gonna maximize your own happiness as well. That's just how it works. And there's something very interesting that I realized through my story, and that I'm sure that this is like this in real life. Like if this happens in real life with an intelligent living being from the earth or from another galaxy or another planet, whatever, I'm sure that this is gonna work this way. Cheating doesn't work. When I realized that, when I was thinking of my story, it was so great. It's just a very powerful feeling. Okay, let's say something like that happens. And there's a guy like Musk, like Elon Musk, who saves the human race on planet Earth and makes everyone happy. But it was a lie. And that guy wasn't the one who did it. There's another guy who was the one who really did it, but this guy portrays himself as the one who did it. I'm sorry, but it doesn't work. Cheating doesn't work for this type of maximum happiness, because if there's just one, all it takes is one living being who knows that it was a lie, it's just ruined. In a spiritual level, it's ruined. And here's the biggest problem of all. If it is a lie, the one who lied will always know that it was a lie. So you cannot maximize your happiness. Like everybody else is going to glorify you, is going to, applause. But, they don't know the truth. But you know the truth, and you know that you're not the one who did it and who saved everyone and who made everyone happy on the whole planet and all that. You cannot maximize your happiness. It doesn't work like that. Your own self, your own persona. I'm not really that religious, or I am a pretty spiritual guy. Even recently I started getting into mindfulness and meditation, all those things. Not like a guru, at least not yet, but I do like all that stuff. But you cannot fool yourself. So if you know that something you did wasn't right, if you know that it was a lie, that you did something great and you didn't really do it, you will never be able to maximize happiness through that, because it is a lie. You didn't really do it. So you have to be good, for real, genuinely, and in that position of great global power, and you have to choose to do the right thing in that position, the thing that makes things better for everyone, brings happiness to everyone. And if you do that, well, boy, you're not only going down in history as a great hero, like the ones in my stories, but you're also doing that thing that maximizes happiness unlike any other. And it cannot be taken away from you. It can't ever be taken away from you for the rest of your life or your living years. You know, even if you are immortal, if you don't die, you still will never forget when you did that. It is the way to maximize happiness. The way, we're not talking here about ways to make you happy. There are many ways to make us happy, thankfully. Otherwise, we will be in a pretty bad situation. But we're talking here about the way to maximize happiness and get the most, happiness possible for us, for you, in the universe. It is doing that. You have to be, unfortunately, there are restrictions for this. Not everyone can get it, and just being honest here. I'm not gonna say, oh, everyone can get it. No, it's a lie. That's also a lie. Not everyone can get it. To get the maximum happiness possible, you have to be in a position of great power for your race at a global level. Then you also have to be good and choose to do the right thing, which is also a thing that makes life better for all the other members of the race or habitants on the planet, or in our case, all the other humans. And beyond that, I think it's pretty easy to understand why that will maximize happiness for someone who chooses to do that, especially if it works out well. Because if they do that and then, the bad guys, the villains, make life impossible for the guy, you still have a lot of battles to win to be able to enjoy your forever and ever maximum happiness. But, if someone does that from such a position of power, and it is the right thing and it makes happiness and better life for everyone, that's it. That's how you maximize happiness. Who can do that on planet Earth right now? Which is what I bring the Elon Musk reference right now. There are Elon Musk videos popping all over the place. Like, I don't know, if the guy wants to be an influencer or what, but it's that kind of person who, in this moment, has the power to make a big difference. To make that kind of move that maximizes happiness for one living being. So hopefully Musk watches this video, and hopefully he also reads the real reality series, because that will help him a lot for inspiration with his robotics and even his SpaceX. Not for engineering, because I'm not an engineer right now, but for inspiration. Okay, that's it. 38 minutes. New record. I'm getting a little better. I'm making videos a little shorter. That's it. That's how I think. This was a good talk, but obviously at the end of the day, it's my view. It's my opinion, but I think this is a view and an opinion that can make a lot of people think a lot. I really feel from the bottom of my heart that it works this way. Like I've been able to feel very, in my mind that it was this way when I was thinking about different characters in my stories. And I tend to be very good at thinking out dialogues and all that, because I'm very good at putting myself in the shoes of different characters, no matter if they're good or bad. Obviously, I prefer the heroes. I prefer the good ones. I prefer the guys that are good, not the bad ones. But I produce good dialogue and good plots and that for everyone, because I can put myself in their shoes. From all these experiences that I had to think of my series, my stories and all that, there was one in particular, which I'm not going to say which character it is. Obviously, you're going to have to read my stuff so you get there. That it just made me think about the maximization of happiness and how that event in that story maximizes happiness for that character. And it was that. It wasn't pleasure, it wasn't accomplishments. It wasn't being Usain Bolt, the fastest runner. It obviously that gives a lot of happiness, but it wasn't that. It wasn't, I don't know, sleeping with the most beautiful partner in the world, and the partner that gives the most pleasure because they know what they're doing so well. It wasn't that. It was, like when the guy in a great position of power chose to do the right thing, and the thing that wasn't just about himself or herself, but it was the right thing to do for the whole race. And it was a very inspiring moment when I imagined it, when I thought about it, and I haven't even, I haven't wrote. I didn't reach the chapter where I'm going to write about that, and I still felt it like deep in me. Like, this is it. This is what truthfully maximizes happiness. So yeah, that's what I'm think. That's what I'm thinking right now, and that's how I feel about this. So something tells me that most people are gonna watch this video because I'm gonna mention like the Elon Musk reference in the title. Guys and girls, I hope you enjoyed it, not just because of the reference, which is a good reference, but I think what I'm exposing here in this video is it's good philosophical stuff that can make us think a lot, because we really feel, especially the younger we are, that the key to happiness is accomplishing more and more, and accomplishing this, accomplishing that, and there are a lot of people who are chasing pleasure. They are chasing pleasure to be happy. And I'm not saying that pleasure is bad. It's not bad at all. It's good. But if you think that is gonna make you happy, man, you're gonna be disappointed. If you think that a lot of pleasure is all it takes to make you happy. Accomplishments are great. I'm not telling you not to go after them. I am going after accomplishments. Like right now, when I want to write my series of books, the real reality series, and the other stuff I'm planning, I'm going after accomplishments. So I'm not saying don't go after that. That's good, but don't think that it's just about that. If you want to achieve the maximum happiness possible, like I think, for example, like for me, how will I be able to achieve this? I won't be able to achieve the maximum possible because I'm not someone who is at such a high power that can make decisions for planet Earth and the world. I'm not at that level, so I cannot do that. But at my level, the best I can do, maybe I can write stories that will give a lot of happiness to many people. So that actually will give me more happiness than getting a bestseller sticker. Like if I get a bestseller sticker, oh, that's great. That's a wonderful accomplishment. It will make me happy. But what will make me even happier than that is to see a lot of people telling me, wow, like you really inspired us, or you really made us happier with that story that you did. So it's, when you have a position of power, do the right thing. Do the thing that makes life better for other people, that brings more happiness for other people. Do the stuff that makes things better for everyone. Like the philosopher King from Aristotle. Is it Aristotle or Socrates? I forgot. It has been too long. So whoever talked about the philosopher King, oh no, it was Plato. I don't even remember. I'm a good philosopher on a chair talking about my stuff and my topics, but not if you ask me about the books on the philosophers and all that. I probably forgot half of that. So that's it. So what gives the greatest possible happiness to an intelligent living being? Well, doing the right thing from the highest position of power that you can get. Doing the right thing, in our case, for the human race. Not everyone can do that because not everyone has such a strong influence, but if you can achieve the greatest happiness, like this Musk guy. Hopefully he can watch this video someday so that he does the right thing. All right, I'm gonna leave it here, guys and girls. Hope you liked it.